So I want to make a little video about endings, beginnings and transitioning. I work with athletes and high achievers, but all of us in life, we all start things all come to an end, and we have to transition out and through and away from things. In my experience, and maybe it's your experience of life as well if you think about it, is the endings are much more difficult than the beginnings. Like, let's think about when you've wanted to start something, whether that's a new sport or a new career, and it becomes your passion and you really want to do it and you love it, and that motivation to keep going is because that passion's there for it and you found something you love. But with sport especially and high achievers, sometimes the endings come abruptly, and that can happen with a job. Say you've got a passion, and I don't know, the business goes bust, or you lose your job, or like in sport, you get injured unexpectedly and it's a career-ending injury. Then the loss comes unexpectedly, and that's when endings can be difficult to manage. Now, even if, say, you're doing your passion and you're going to retire from your business, your job, the boardroom, your sport, when you know it's coming, even when you know it's coming, it can be difficult to navigate. And this is why some of the work I do, you see my sweatshirt here, it starts with you, but everything starts with you, everything. But you have to know you. So not just be that one thing. Yes, we all have passions. Like, I'm passionate about coaching and helping people. Is it the only part of me? Is it the only vessel in my tank? No, I've got many vessels and many aspects of me. And so have you. We all have. But we can all go down a little bit of tunnel vision when we get super passionate about something and just focus on that one thing, which can be great on the one hand, because we're putting all of our energy, all of our learning, our thinking, our knowledge, we're giving it everything to improve and to be really good at it. And it feels okay because it's our passion and we love it, so it feels easy and we're joyful and happy and fulfilled when we're doing it. But what happens when we're not doing it? And what happens when we become known for just that thing? Our identity gets wrapped up in that one thing alone. And that can be great, but it also can be difficult. Because if we lose that thing, then our self-worth can really plummet. Our confidence can plummet. We become insecure. And especially when we're high achievers and we reach a really high level. So even if you anticipate the change, the transition that's coming, when you've had an epic experience, like you've been a top athlete, an Olympian, a world champion, a national champion, whatever, that transition can be harder. But what I've found through life is that in those dark times, we can find real meaning in ourselves. As we get used to what is going to be the new normal. And it's hard, it's not easy. One thing to think about is it is your identity. So before you retire, or before that day might come where you have to transition out of whatever it is you're doing, you need to look at yourself as you're made up. Let's just go 5, because I've got 5 fingers, of 5 vessels. One of those vessels might be your sport. But who are you outside of that sport? What do you enjoy doing? What lights you up? If you look at someone like Marcus Rashford, football player, he's an epic footballer. Well, I think we'll all agree on that. But there's many other aspects to him that make his identity. He's been campaigning for free school meals. He's written a book. So, those are just a couple of things that he's a young man. So you could think, well, all he needs to do is just focus on his football. But he has other passions, and we all have more than one passion. We all have more than one thing that we're good at, and we have more than one thing that makes us who we are. So it's important to get to know yourself and understand what you are and who you are outside of your main one thing, so that when that transition comes, that ending comes, you have something to transition into and to make new goals and a new vision around. Because what's going to happen is, initially, potentially, you're going to base everything on what you've been doing, how you've been showing up, how people see you, your friends and your families and your relatives. And that can be hard because they see you as this main identity. And you might look back at your career and your job or whatever and wish you'd done better, wish you'd done more, or wish you could replicate what you've done in that career again. But the future very rarely looks like the past. The future very rarely looks like the past. But it doesn't mean you can't accomplish great things. Like, I've worked with athletes and they think they've worked, Olympians and world champions, and you think that I'm never going to do anything this great ever again. And that can be the same for all of us, in our careers, our chosen passions. But what I love helping people do is to see things from a different perspective, from a different viewpoint. Because you've been going down this life's pathway in your career and you've seen it from one certain perspective. But what I love to do is help people see things from a different perspective, to gain new insight, and to actually see that whatever you achieved before, you can go to even greater and bigger heights. But it all starts with you.